The PD1779 Moon Dark watch is another Omega homage, yet this beast is quite polarizing in appeal. You either love the dark styling, signaling the obscure and ominous nature of the dark side of the moon, or you simply overlook the complex and potentially slightly over-engineered dial design. The watch gets a semi-skeletonized dial layout with the beady and grainy dial texture intertwined with the bridges and gears below the three chronograph dials. This is a functional VK63 Mecha Quartz chronograph with a sweeping seconds hand and 0.2 seconds precision. The dial is placed under a dome slab of sapphire crystal, treated with anti-reflective coating to minimize the reflections. There are three color options available: there's bright yellow, red, and toxic blue. The accents on the dial and the tachymeter scale, as well as the strap highlights, will be finished in the color of your choice. Considering this watch is quite unique, at the same time it's sporty and classy, kind of chic, and it is unusual. So you'll be wondering, how much is this thing? Well, it's not that much. You'll be looking at $68. That's the price I paid for it a couple of weeks back. And the interesting thing is, I've been checking AliExpress, as you know, daily, and the price hasn't moved. It's still sort of going between the $68 to $70 price range. So the price is quite stable. And I don't think it's really that much to pay for such a stunner. Anyways, the links are in the description below the video. Check them out if you're after a sharp price. And now let's get into this comprehensive review, because there is a lot to say about this watch. It is definitely special, different, unique. I don't know. I do like black watches. I think they're just so different. But this one, yeah, it's way different. Anyways, let's get into the comprehensive review. With regards to the dimensions, we get diameter of 42mm, a height of 13.9mm due to the domed sapphire crystal, a lug-to-lug length of 46mm, and a lug width of 20mm. In regards to the weight, well, on the perforated leather strap, it's 90 grams. If you go for a stainless steel bracelet, the weight will go up to 140 grams. Personally, I absolutely love blacked out watches. We are so conditioned to look at silver cases and bracelets or tan leather straps that seeing a blacked out watch case matching strap is quite the contrast. This PD homage though is enhanced with the yellow highlights, a dash here and a splash of yellow there. The ambience doesn't overwhelm, yet the bright hues create a more enticing experience. Looking at the profile, we note the play of light as it dances between the polished and brushed surfaces. These surface treatments also make the case layering more distinctive. The elegant curve of the flank as it arches from one bevel lug to the other is brushed. The 45-degree bevel leading to the lug hoods is polished though. The bevel is rather wide, creating an illusion of twisted lugs. The fixed bezel is polished with a tachymeter scale printed in white on its perimeter. On the right, we have the glossy black pushers and the screw-in crown. The pushers have a heavy feel and resistance to them. I actually like the fact they aren't too tall. They are essentially the same distance from the flank to tip as the signed crown, making for a contemporary rather than a vintage feel. On the underside, the screw-down case back has a sketch-like image of a rocket speeding past a planet. It's a tongue-in-cheek caricature of the original, yet it's done in good humor. We get it, really. I think we do. The padded leather strap is perforated with yellow highlights, peeping through the leather diaphragm, once more emphasizing the sporty nature of the timepiece. The leather strap is signed with the brand name and logo. That is awesome. I would love it if brands like Steelflyer, Addis Dive would also consider styling and branding their leather straps. The boxy sapphire crystal gets a slight dome towards the center as well, so on top of the boxy-like structure already. The anti-reflective treatment was done well here. Reflections are minimal. Another point to mention is the exceptional crystal clarity. Looking at sharp angles, there are hardly any distortions, which is very nice. Under the crystal is where the complicated nature of the dial comes in. There are three subdials, a 24-hour subdial and two chrono subdials. The 3 and 9 o'clock subdials get yellow hands in line with the main dial chrono sweeper. The main dial gets three distinct pattern designs: the grainy composite, the gunmetal subdials, and the mechanical gears and bridges lays through it all. The lume is applied to the thin hour buttons as well as the minute and hour hands. If there is one thing Pagani design is always consistent about, that would be sparse luminosity. Here, there are no surprises. Bright at the onset and very short-lived. As for the movement, the PD1779 features the VK63 megaquartz. The precision is 1/5 of a second and requires a battery replacement every 3 years. And that estimate is based on an assumption that you'll be using the chronograph feature for 60 minutes every day. Obviously, if you don't use the chronograph for an hour a day, the battery replacement should stretch for longer than 3 years. So there we have it, another stunner from Pagani design, which I think is really surprising with all the homages that it's been piping out. So in 22, 23, yeah, there were huge numbers, but 24 just started. We're only 3.5 months in, and already there's so many new models that Pagani design is bringing to us. And what I do like is that they're not hiking the prices. So for something as interesting as this watch, the asking price of $68, I think it's more than fair. But again, who am I to judge? Anyway, the link to the listing of this watch is in the description below the video. Do check it out if you're after a sharp price. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.